Good evening. My name is Erica Burns, and I am here to present to you my final project. The article I chose states that a man who murdered an LGBTQ teen in Cortez was released from prison. The victim and offender were believed to have been schoolmates. They were both teenagers, ages 16 and 18, at the time of the crime. Sean Murphy, who is now 36 years old, was released after 18 years in prison. He was sentenced to 40 years for brutally murdering the 16-year-old boy with a rock. The 16-year-old, Fred F.C. Martinez Jr., was found in a canyon south of Cortez 5 days after he went missing. The killing of Fred was considered a hate crime against the LGBTQ community and received national attention. It was understood during that time being a member of the LGBTQ community was strongly discouraged. Murphy, after facing a first-degree murder charge and possibility of life in prison without parole, pled guilty to second-degree murder. A Colorado parole board let Murphy out of prison in May of 2018. Murphy being released on parole was described as a slap in the face to the LGBTQ community. They began to protest and exclaimed their disbelief for Murphy's release. He was sentenced to 40 years, and being released after 18 years was just unbelievable. His release may perpetuate fear in the Colorado LGBTQ community. It can only be imagined. I can only imagine it to be pretty traumatic to know that someone who was identified as a brutal killer is back on the streets. His release adds insult to injury. In hate crimes, restorative justice may help alleviate some fear. In this particular article, the victim's family and the LGBTQ community will be facing the offender on the victim's behalf. Facing the offender would benefit the family by understanding, first, the purpose of the crime. Why did he target FC? Why did it have to go that far? If the restorative justice attempt did not take place before sentencing, it should have been considered prior to Murphy's release. Most times, knowing the why helps bring closure to the crime committed. Not that it would make it right, but they would know why their loved one was targeted. For a hate crime such as this, spokesman Mark Fairbairn stated what a shock it was to report that a release was even considered. This crime was described as one of the most horrific hate crime murders ever seen. A plea deal did not do adequate justice to the brutality. Now that Murphy has been released and no prior restorative justice was ever attempted, there is a chance available for him to address the LGBT community and show that he is remorseful for his behavior and that he has been rehabilitated. In doing so, it will give the victim's family and the LGBTQ community an opportunity for a healing process. It is unusual to utilize restorative justice in murder cases, but not unheard of. Rarely successful, but as seen in the Florida murder case, the victim's parents, the offender, and his parents all participated in a restorative justice setting, and the victim's parents recommended to the prosecutor to offer the offender a plea deal. Murphy may face retaliation from the LGBT community if he chooses not to participate in some form of restorative justice, or even offering a public apology to the LGBT community may be helpful. I am a firm believer that an apology can go a long way and help a person heal and move forward in a positive direction. I believe restorative justice can be very beneficial in all types of crimes. It is more productive in nonviolent crimes, but not unusual to attempt otherwise. For this case, restorative justice may be beneficial post-conviction to help the LGBT community and the victim's family know that they are not in any danger. It has been a joy to work with you all this semester. I look forward to working with you all in the future. Thank you. This is Erica Burns, signing off.